Welcome, everyone. Welcome to 2026. Welcome to the first reading of this new year. Yes. Where do I begin? I hope everyone had lovely holiday season with their loved ones. Mine was very bittersweet. Really connects to the astrological transits that were happening and are still happening now, from last year and during this new year. And then also just from all the readings that I did. I had started my channel, started the readings, I think, at the beginning of the summer. And so to kind of see how things have unfolded has been very interesting and insightful. So I guess we could I want to start by covering some of the major astrological transits for this month. This reading is going to be mostly, today's the full moon in Cancer, so it's definitely going to speak on that for sure in the forefront. And then also just like a monthly energy update as well, which I feel is really embodied in the spread. And then from here, we can kind of start looking into the new year and seeing, and, kind of getting ideas of how things will probably unfold, or some potentials that are revealing themselves now, some new opportunities. But so let's get into the major transits for the month. So first off, we had Chiron that went direct yesterday, January 2nd. Which is a big deal, I feel, because Chiron is connected to our inner wounding, the wounded healer. And we've been working on this all of last year. Definitely in the beginning of the summer, or like midsummer in July, that's when Chiron was retrograde. And so within that time frame, I think maybe some of this inner wounding was revealed through some maybe challenges of relationships. It was being revealed to us so that we can heal it, or heal them if it's more than one wound. So it hasn't been easy, right? I think last year was pretty intense. But now with Chiron going direct, or is direct, the focus is all about integrating these insights that we've gained from last year, these lessons, these experiences, and taking some healing action, because definitely 2026 is more of an action-oriented year. Last year I feel it was more internal, more like reflecting and reevaluating and stuff. I mean, we're still doing some of that sorting out now, but we're at the end tail of that. We've already walked beyond our individual thresholds, whatever that might look like in your own life. And now we're kind of embarking on this new journey, still with a lot, still kind of cleaning up, tying up loose ends and stuff like that. Last year was definitely karmic as well. So I think that we had the opportunity to pay off some of that karmic energetic debt, to clear the way again for this new cycle that we're starting. So that's Chiron going direct. That was yesterday. I'm not gonna cover all the aspects, but and then today is the full moon in Cancer, which is motivating us to sort out, again, do the final sorting of our desires and wants from our actual needs. Like, what is it that we really need right now? Not what we want, not what the ego wants, but what our true essence, what our true heart wants. And this especially pertains to last year, and this coming to this realization that revision of our future plans is in order now, right? Because we're not the same person we were when 2025 started. We're completely different people, especially after living through the experiences we moved through last year. And all the lessons that we learned, right? There's like no turning back now. We can't unsee or undo these experiences that we've had. So now they're a part of us, and we have to accept that truth, even if it meant letting go of certain things, certain relationships. I think there was a lot of that. I had said at the end of last year, that last year reading, that it was going to be like a reckoning of sorts, maybe with shocking revelations again, and then having to do making these hard decisions of what direction do we go, what are our true values. Are we going to keep making the same decisions and the same decisions that are going to kind of keep us stuck in this old narrative, or are we going to choose something differently and choose ourselves for once? So I think that was definitely going on, and it's tied to this full moon, where, again, because Cancer is a very deep feeling sign, very emotional. There's like this emotional intensity and tenderness and vulnerability that's available to us today if we tap into it. So again, reflecting on last year's lessons, allowing ourselves to grieve these endings. It could have been a relationship, but it could have been us like coming to this letting go of this old version of ourselves, which there's grief involved in that, right? Coming to that realization that we've been operating in these maybe toxic limiting ways, and then finally deciding to let go of that and allowing ourselves to become something different, a better version of ourselves, or coming to this point of true self-love and acceptance and forgiveness that allows us to then connect to more potential, the potential that lives within us and that is all around us. I think that connects to this experiencing card. What else about the full moon? Yeah, and also I wanted to mention, because what was revealed was also that some of these wants and desires or beliefs that we uphold for most of our lives, right, up until this point, we realized that they weren't even ours to begin with, right? There were these, it was like conditioning. There were these things that were passed down to us through our families, right? Through our family system, through our communities, through our earlier relationships, where maybe we lacked experience and we lacked a level of awareness and consciousness or understanding of who we were. And now definitely there's more of that clarity available to us, where we're like letting go of these passed down beliefs and values that no longer align with who we are, our true self. So yeah, these were the things we were conditioned to believe we needed that we were conditioned to believe we needed in order to be happy, to feel successful or accomplished, to feel loved and accepted. So we're redefining and renegotiating that for ourselves. What does all that mean to us? What does love mean to us? What are we looking for in a partner, in a relationship, in a friendship? What is friendship, right? What is holding space? What is being emotionally available? I've been working through a lot of these things. What is feeling successful or accomplished? What would make me be able to nurture more happiness and joy in my life, right? What does it mean to feel loved and accepted, or to belong? What does belonging look like for me? What are the spaces that can provide that, or the relationships that can provide that? And what can I provide in exchange, right? Because it's always like this give and take. There has to be a balanced reciprocity between individuals, between groups, between, Then we have the new moon in Capricorn, which is happening on the 18th. It's going to be a slow shifting of focus into more of our long-term goals. So we're going to start slowly taking more action, start with planning and organizing ourselves, organizing our lives. When you think of Capricorn, it's a sign that isn't afraid to roll up their sleeves, right? To get the work done, to start materializing their vision. Okay, this is the goal I have. This is what are the steps I need to take in order to materialize that, right? To manifest that. So this is a time to create some order, as I was saying, in our lives, to start planning, to organize, Yeah, especially after making sense from the sorting that we're doing now between the full moon and the new moon. That's what we're doing. We're tying up loose ends. We're doing the final release, the final letting go. And then now with the new moon, we'll start being able to start this new path from a more integrated, embodied place after the sorting and reflecting and reconciliation that we've been doing. And we're going to move forward with more clarity about who we are, right? Who we are becoming, what our new values, beliefs, goals are, because they're definitely probably different from what we started with last year in 2025. Probably maybe there's a pivot point now that we have to take a new direction. And we know that, but we don't have all the details yet, right? We don't have all the details. There's still some unknown elements, but then it's also about having faith that the universe is going to be helping us and guiding us along the way, and things will slowly be revealed to us. So it's like moving with faith, which is here too in this Pilgrim card. And then lastly, the last transit I wanted to mention, and this is not at all the transits that are happening, but these are the ones I wanted to mention. And then at the end of the month, on January 26th, we have Neptune entering Aries. And it's going to stay in Aries until 2038. So this is a big journey, a big transit, a big pilgrimage we're getting on. So when Neptune enters Aries, it begins a whole new 14-year chapter. And again, there's all these indications of new beginnings. So with this transit, with this, with also Chiron going direct, all these other transits that are going to be happening later in the year, but it's a sign that this is a new beginning, not only of a new zodiac chapter, but a new cycle of the entire zodiac. So this aligns perfectly with the numerology of the year, right? If you follow numerology, if you add up all the numbers of the year 2026, it adds up to a universal year of one. Again, reconfirming that we're at this new chapter of our lives, a new stage of growth and of awareness. And now we can jump into the spread. All right. So let's begin. I was studying these cards. I was meditating on the cards, and then I start weaving the story out. And so we start with this card, Apocolysis. It's a Greek word. I was like, what does that actually mean? So it's a Greek word that means unveiling or revelation, referring to a disclosure of knowledge, often divine, right? We had a spread last year that was all about divine intervention or revelation or something like that, divine guidance. And so this is really tying into this reckoning that we just went through at the end of last year. I know that I went through my own kind of moment of truth, a very painful one, about having to let go of a very long, deep relationship that I've had, and just going back home. I traveled back east after not being there for over a year, and it's interesting to go back when you're living somewhere else, because you see how much you've changed. And so, yeah, it was kind of bittersweet, and it was a very strange trip, and a very sad one, because I had to kind of, again, accept these truths that were being unveiled to me. These revelations about certain relationships that have outgrown my life, like that I've outgrown, and so it's almost like these situations, these relationships, these roles that we're used to, that feel so familiar, and in that feel comforting, that we have to let go of, because we're expanding, we're moving to a new stage of growth and of awareness, as I was saying before. And usually it happens in these moments of, sometimes it's shocking, it's painful, it's like it kind of comes unexpectedly. But But if you look back at the way the year was unfolding, you realize, okay, yeah, like for me, there were indications early on in the year that things were gonna change. And so they definitely did. I guess I just wasn't expecting it to happen the way it did, but that's how life is, you know, like there's something greater going on for us, with us, along the journey, you know. Divine, as I was saying, divine intervention. So I try to trust in how things unfold, you know. So this Apocolysis card, yes, about an unveiling. So as I mentioned in 2025, in the end of year reading, I stated that it was a time of reckoning, a moment of truth that would change the trajectory of our life direction. I also mentioned moving beyond the threshold. Perhaps this decisive period meant facing the consequences of our past actions. So as I was saying, this is definitely karmic, which entails learning hard but needed lessons for growth. Being held or holding others accountable for their actions, that was definitely going on for me, and maybe for you as well, right? Taking responsibility for our actions in our own lives, our own happiness, how we want to move forward in life, how we want people to treat us, what our, you know, renegotiating what our boundaries are after the tremendous amount of healing we've done, right? So yeah, so it allows for this energetic, like, paying of karmic debts, which is tied to, again, values and morals, you know, our morals, what we deem moral, our financial, you know, all kinds of relationships, not only relationships to other souls, other humans, but like our relationship to money, so our finances, our relationship to spirituality, or to so many different arenas of our lives. So now, when I reference the book for this card, the overall theme of the card is removing the veil of deception. So maybe there was this deception, right? There was something that was being hidden. That came up a lot in the readings last year. Something that we were hiding from ourselves, that we weren't ready to see until, boom, that moment of truth. You know, this unexpected situation that kind of happens, right? And then kind of wakes us up. You know, it shocks us awake. The pain of it, the sense of loss, the grief. But then once we're able to go through that process, we come to the realization that it couldn't happen any other way, that it was time. There was like divine timing that was involved, and you see how it perfectly aligns to where you were and where you are now and where you're going. Let me see, I'll read a little bit from the book. So the first is the unveiling of the lifting of the veil. This means truths that have been kept in the dark are revealed, seen, and unearthed. That was definitely happening throughout 2025. No matter how revealing it is to witness them come into the light, an element of despair and grief follows. Yes, definitely. But then after that, there's the opportunity for regeneration, right? For this new beginning, for this renewal of purpose, of intention. The old narrative breaks and a new story forms. That's what's happening now. It's forming. Apocolypsis energy is similar to a forest fire. That's interesting. Devastation for the sake of regeneration. The veil lifts and we see who and what has been hiding. Again, you see, and then there's an eye here in the middle of this card, and there's an eye in this card too, which I find interesting. From the nakedness of the truth, a child is born. Have faith in the process. Hold on to your center. That is the only way. Wow. So that one line that stood out to me at the end was, from the nakedness of truth, a child is born. Have faith in the process. So there's this idea around this innocence, this purity of faith, right? Because faith, I think, is very connected to that innocence, that purity of a child, almost, right? Or giving birth to something new. This truth, even with some of the its destructive energies, you know, of endings, of something abruptly ending or something having to be severed and let go of, there is this potential for regeneration, for renewal, for rebirth. Which brings us straight, and then I had shared in one of a post that this year and this energy here reminds me of the Fool card, which came up. The Fool card came up in a lot of the readings last year. Numerous times it just kept popping up, and it embodies this year's themes, right? We are at a 0 point, getting ready to embark on a new journey, but it requires courage in the form of like this leap of faith, which you see in the Fool, right? Leaping off this cliff. So I feel like that is part of this. But whatever we decide to do, you know, whatever, now that we're on this pilgrimage, right? We're venturing into the Fool's journey, the hero's journey, as this wanderer, this traveler, this seeker of truth, this apprentice, this like an apprentice, right? A student. This completely requires devotion, which the crane represents. The crane, I think the key word for the crane is longevity. So whatever, again, we decide to do, whatever direction we decide to go on, whatever goals we decide to focus on, they have to be for the long haul, right? These long-term goals, we have to see them through to the end. We have to be, again, devotional, committed to seeing it through. What else do I want to see? Yeah, whatever we decide to do, whatever direction, whatever purpose we decide to uphold now has to be created and nurtured with complete devotion for the long haul. So let's see. Let's read a little bit from the book. I've outlined some of the main meaning that I want to share that I feel connects to my intuitive perception of it. So it says here, by making the decision to see something all the way through, you are choosing to fill hollow areas with your love and devotion. So maybe hollow areas, maybe areas in our lives that we've forgotten about, that we've kind of abandoned, maybe certain dreams, certain goals, certain hobbies, certain projects. It's like, fill that with your loving devotion, right? Give it attention. Nurture them now. It says here, you are choosing completeness. So there's something connected to this integration that we're doing, right? Integration also involves doing action, I feel, right? Embodying it means living it. Living it through our actions, through our relationships, through our choices. Yeah, the ability to commit. Life responds to your commitment in kind by increasing your energy reserves, strengthening your nervous system, opening up your heart center, and aligning you with the relationships and resources you require to fulfill your soul's sacred mission. So we're being, again, aligned, redirected. We've been recalibrating. And now we're gonna, after this unveiling, after this revelation of truth, right? Deciding what we want to do, where we want to go, committing to that, devoting ourselves to that, going on this pilgrimage. The pilgrimage, right? The seeker seeking a new life, starting this new chapter, which is gonna gift us new lessons, new relationships, new opportunities, new wisdom. And again, it's new experiences, right? Experiencing, but it's not an experiencing the superficial form of experiencing. It's really like a deeper more sacred form of experiencing, which I'm going to get into now. But one thing I wanted to share is this quote that came to mind when I was reading the Pilgrim card, because the Pilgrim card is about, right, devotion, the crane and the Pilgrim card together, and going on this new journey. But we have to commit to that journey, right, and see it through all the way to the end. And so what this quote came up from William Hutchinson Murray, and maybe you're familiar with it, but it's, until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is only one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A stream of events issues from the decision raising in one's favor all manner of unseen incidents, meetings, material assistance which no man or woman could have dreamed would have come his or her way. I have learned a deep respect of one's couplets. Whatever you can do or dream, you can. Begin it. Boldness has genius and power and magic in it. Begin it now. I feel like that's the overarching message of this spread. And so when we're talking about this experiencing card, which is the Three of Wands in Tarot, it's inviting us to expand our horizons through exploration. Because that's what a pilgrimage is, right? You go on this journey, and even though you do some planning, you can't foresee how that journey is going to unfold. Even all the planning that you do, but it's definitely good to plan and to devote yourself, like, this is what I'm going to see this through, and these are the steps I'm going to take, and I'm going to try to stay open and curious to how things unfold and what appears on this path, right, on this journey. And I'm going to try to be fully present in this experience, because that's what this experience card is about. Besides exploration and expansion, which sometimes also points to like possible travel opportunities, some learning opportunities, maybe academically or otherwise, maybe an apprenticeship, because this is the apprentice, right? So the seeker, so maybe some sort of mentoring, something like that, working with a teacher, with a spiritual teacher, healer of some sort, a therapist, counselor. But there's also new ventures. So maybe new ventures, new projects that you're gonna take up, or that are gonna be presented to you, maybe for collaboration. Or at your job, maybe you get to lead one of the new ventures, one of the new initiatives at your organization, or maybe you're starting something. You're beginning to recognize that many opportunities are available to you now. So maybe because you made more space and you let go of these old narratives, these old roles you played, these old relationships that had served their higher purpose for all concerned, right? And now it's time to move ahead into new partnerships that are able to meet you where you are now and what direction you're going on. Because that's another thing. Sometimes relationships come to this crossroad because people's needs change, right? What they need change, and they need to meet those needs, and so they have to make different decisions and go different directions. So it's a matter of like, I'm going this way and the other person's going a different way, you know? And that's okay, you know? That's just life. So it's coming to that acceptance, and that's part of the grieving process, right? Of like finally at the end making peace with it and taking away from it what you learned, the beautiful memories that you shared, you know, how it fed and nurtured you for that period of time. Because something was gained, not all is lost, you know, something was gained for sure within that exchange. So now, yes, so recognizing these new opportunities that are available to you, because now you're seeing things, you know, right? The veil was lifted, and now you're able to see things a little bit more clearly, a little bit more expansively. And that's also a reflection of your relationship with yourself, right? The more you're able to love and accept yourself, you're able to then open yourself up to leaving your comfort zone and trying new things, or even believing that you're capable of trying these new things and starting these new ventures. So you have to really have this level of coherence within you in order to be able to see and do that. But so yeah, to fully embrace this potential, stay dedicated to your path, be willing to move beyond your comfort zone, as we were saying, trusting that your greatest growth lies beyond familiar territory. So here we go, we're venturing, we're going on this path, we're going to be fully present to the experiences, these new experiences that are going to present themselves, right? It's also time to think boldly, which also again reminds me of the Fool card, jumping off the cliff, taking the leap of faith. That takes tremendous bold action and courage. Explore ways to open new doors for growth and self-exploration and discovery. This card reminds you to dream beyond what you believe is possible. Own your vision and trust in your ability to bring it to life. Absolutely. Again, the Fool card. And that also, the Creator card, right? The Creator, you see what they're holding? It's like they're holding their life force, their creative life force that is going to be able to, to allow them to manifest whatever they're envisioning now, and to impact and influence the world around them. That they have the potential and the power to impact reality, and that they're a part of that reality and they're making a valuable contribution. So it's coming to that belief and understanding as well. So we kind of covered, let me see if I want to read anything for the experiencing card. So the only thing I want to say about the experience, the additional thing is like to look at the card itself, because it's beautiful. And it says here, the woman in this card is not just touching this tree, she is in communion with it. She has almost become one with it. So that word communion really also strikes a chord. I feel like we're trying to show up more fully, in every relationship, every experience. And so it becomes this communion, right? This sacred presence and connection. That's what's required, right? Sacred presence. It says here, nature doesn't bang any drums when it bursts forth into flowering, nor plays any dredges when the trees let go of their leaves in the fall. If you haven't heard nature's whispering to you lately, now is a good time to give her the opportunity. Maybe it's that too. Maybe it's like connecting to nature more. Maybe there's something there that can help you along the way. Or connecting to your natural essence, connecting to your true self, or bringing that forth in all your different experiences, right? Instead of hiding, unveil your true whole self, integrated self now, instead of hiding parts of you in order to accommodate, in order to please or appease, like no more of that compromising yourself, betraying yourself, abandoning yourself. So it's like fully experiencing who you are in every given moment, in every given interaction. That's about it for that. This is a great song. So I want to get into these two cards because I feel like they're pretty interesting and complex. We have Gnosis. I think we got that one last year. And then we have Anima, Mundi. So Gnosis, what is Gnosis? That's a Greek word. A Greek word that means knowledge, but specifically it refers to intuitive knowledge, right? Intuitive knowing. I haven't shown you these cards. I was showing you that these two cards look very similar. You have the eye in the middle. The crane pointing upwards, right? Pointing forward and up to like this, almost like higher consciousness. higher knowing, higher purpose that's going to allow us, right, to connect to longevity. We have this experiencing this woman communing with nature, communing with the present moment. And so Gnosis means knowledge. This, I would say, even this is like a part of that, this intuitive, experiential knowing, connecting to spiritual insights, a direct knowing beyond mere intellectual facts or rationale. It also describes, which I find interesting, the neurological ability to recognize and process sensory information. So the experiencing that we're doing is with all our senses. It's with all our senses. It's not from a mental, intellectual place. It's from an embodied place. That's what embodiment means, right? You're bringing all of your senses in. So it's visual, it's auditory, it's tactile, right? It's all of those things and more. And techniques that help this state of Gnosis often involves like altering our state of consciousness, altering our state of perception, which is done with plant medicines, which is done with psychedelics, which is done with meditation and chanting, which is done because it opens our senses up to these intense experiences of ecstasy, of these sensory experiences that help us also tap into these spiritual, divine insights that maybe normally we wouldn't be able to access. And then the way it connects with Anima Mundi, this is a Latin word meaning the soul of the world. The soul of the world represents an ancient philosophical concept of a universal animating spirit or consciousness that connects all living things and permeates the cosmos. I like that. Is that maybe the equivalent of what some people consider God or God consciousness, right? Or this higher consciousness is the universal consciousness that, you know, that kind of just, embodies all of us, all living things. Much like a human soul connects to a body, linking the material and spiritual realms, it's seen as a vital force, intelligence, or divine essence energizing nature and the universe. So yeah, there's a lot of this, there's this deep presence of this spiritual initiation. These three cards are all from the initiation, the initiation section of the deck, because they're divided into I think 3 or 4 categories. And so this indicates a very deep spiritual, personal initiation that we're undergoing, that we've been undergoing. Now we're at a different stage of that. Again, starting this new cycle from this higher consciousness, higher awareness, because of everything that was unveiled and everything that we were able to move through and heal. And we're definitely being divinely guided. There's a presence of some aspect of our spiritual alliances, our ancestors, our spiritual guides, something greater, something more divine. I mean, we got the Creator card, so I mean that can also be that, right? And they say we were made in the image of God, and whatever God represents to you, it doesn't have to be linked to any organized religion or dogma or anything like that, you know. But in that sense, we are creators too, right? We were made in the image of the Creator, and we have this creative potential and creative force seated inside us. And so it's about connecting to that, to the God or Goddess within, to the divine. Although we don't have the divine feminine here, we have the divine masculine, and the divine feminine is always present, even if we didn't get a literal card representing it. But there's something around connecting more now, balancing out the divine feminine with more of this divine masculine energy. That's connected to the creator card, right? Because creating is about manifesting and materializing and, you know, doing and experiencing, which has this masculine quality to it. Yeah, going out, venturing out on this pilgrimage as a seeker of truth. We're seeking new experiences, seeking a new narrative, a new storyline for ourselves, to create a new story for ourselves. You know, gaining new knowledge, spiritual insight throughout this whole, you know, process. Is there anything else I want to say? Let's see. Let's read Divine Masculine. It's a beautiful day. So what Divine Masculine means is presence. So we were talking about that, right, with the experiencing card. Presence is required right now. Full presence. By simply aligning your unfractured consciousness with the moment, you supply healing, balancing truths, conjure new possibilities and outcomes. So it's also attunement, right? To be fully present, to be fully present in the moment, you have to be attuned firstly to yourself, right? To your own inner experience. Know what you're feeling, know what your body is communicating, your spirit and soul is communicating. And then also attuning to your environment and to your surroundings, or attuning to the person that's in front of you, or the person you're in partnership with, or, you know, all the spaces you move through, you know, work or career, or, you know, vocational, or, you know, romantic, or, you know, your friendships, the community groups you're involved in, and all those things. It's about, you know, being fully present and attuned. I'm seeing if there's anything else. When it's in balance, I think it's important to mention the shadow aspect of this, right? It's cognitive dissonance, lack of connection to the greater world. So maybe, yeah, isolation. Maybe you're hoarding all these ideas and all these goals and all these things, or skills or talents, and it's like it's about bringing them forward now, you know, to the greater world, and not being isolated or hidden, right? But bringing them forth. Cognitive dissonance is like believing a lie, kind of like almost being let's look it up. I want to be precise. It's a mental discomfort from holding conflicting beliefs and values or attitudes, or when actions contradict beliefs, creating stress that motivates changing thoughts or behaviors to restore consistency. So what are examples of cognitive dissonance? Okay, that's a great example. I just looked it up. So people who smoke, right? I have smoked in the past. Smoking, we know that smoking is bad for you, right? We know that it causes cancer, but yet people still smoke. That's cognitive dissonance, right? It's like the discomfort from holding conflicting beliefs or acting against values. So we know something is true, yet we ignore it because it's convenient. So we, you know, smoking is bad, but continuing, justifying it as a stress relief, right? So we'll be like, oh no, but it helps with my stress. It's convenient, and feeling guilty or rationalizing it, right? So that's the shadow aspect of the divine masculine. And we're seeing a lot of cognitive dissonance collectively, right? In the political world, in you know, socially, in society, globally. There's a lot of things that are happening that are bad, and yet they're justified or rationalized some way as necessary, when, you know, I don't think that war, killing people, innocent people, is necessary. There are other ways that, I mean, we've advanced so much, I feel, you know, so much technology, so much knowledge now that's been revealed through the different sciences, and it's like, yet we still are killing each other. We're still power hungry, and you know, driven by greed and profit and capitalism, you know. And I think that this is also pointing to that, right? All these things being unveiled, and they've been continuously being unveiled historically. And true changes have happened through that. Movements have been created, you know, policies have been changed, you know, laws have been, you know, created to, you know, to protect the collective, to protect people, you know, certain groups. I think of the women's movement, you know, the Black Panthers, and, you know, all these different movements that, you know, that really worked hard to shift things for their communities. And so I think that's possible for us on a smaller scale in our own lives, within our own relationships, within our own community, and then it expands out, right? And then it could also, through these hardships that we're seeing now, through the unveiling, we can come up with ways of changing things, right? Getting these divine ideas and divine, you know, creative insights that can help us, you know, devote ourselves to change, to being these creators, right? Creators of our reality, creators of a new reality, a new paradigm. I think that's it, folks. This is a good start to the year, I think. Something else that I wanted to mention, I had written this in my recent post, is that although we're here, it's a new year, and there's a lot of speaking of unveiling and letting go of conditioning and old beliefs. Like this idea of the new year and New Year resolutions, and like right away, you know, on January 1st or whatever, or even now in this new month, to have to rush in with like to-do lists or goals or New Year's resolutions, it doesn't really make sense to me. Because we're, especially in the Northern Hemisphere, we're in the middle of winter. You know, we're in this dark, cold, you know, slow-moving energy that is all about, again, more about like sorting things, organizing slowly, you know, slowly getting organized and planning so that we can soon take action, you know. And I was reading a little bit about that, about how back in the day, when we followed a lunar calendar, now we follow a Gregorian solar calendar, but when we followed a lunar calendar, the new year was really spring, because spring is when everything starts coming back to life and growing and blossoming. So again, don't feel rushed to have to figure everything out now, or like create all these resolutions and completely like transform your life like from one day to the next, literally. Take time to digest and integrate these truths that were revealed to you, you know, these new possibilities that are slowly emerging, grieving these losses, these endings, the ending of an old reality, of an old self, of old relationships, and start getting clear on like, what is it that I want to devote myself to, you know, now that I passed this threshold and I'm in the process of becoming this new person, you know. What am I seeking? You know, how do I want to experience my life? You know, from what vantage point, from what perspective, from a more embodied perspective, from a more grounded, you know, place of, you know, including all your senses and not only relying on your intellect and on your mind, but involving all the senses, coming to and within that, allowing these very embodied experiences and being fully present in who we are, our true self, our authentic self, then we are able to get these spiritual insights. We're able to bridge the physical and the spiritual, the outer and the inner. Again, which really is embodied by this Anima Mundi card, right? which is all about the soul of the world, and it's our soul. Our soul is part of that bigger soul of the world. So it's like we need to get in touch with our soul, right? I was saying that we're in this revolution now, revolution to reclaim our soul, to reclaim what is sacred and what is true, to unveil all the deception, not only within our own psyche, within our own lives, but collectively as well, in these social, political arenas, and operating from this inner authority, this inner creator archetype, right? Not feeling like victims, not feeling powerless, but knowing that we have the power to create and to shift, again, the paradigm, not only for ourselves and the people we love, but for the world. And we need to I guess maybe strengthen our, integrate this divine masculine energy. Yes, definitely uphold, we're in need of more feminine energy, of nurturing, of that devotional love, but also we need the energy of the masculine in order to venture out on this new path, on this new journey, and to believe in ourselves enough to have that confidence in ourselves that we're capable of manifesting this new life that we envision for ourselves, this new story that's trying to be birthed through us. I'll leave it at that. Love and light, my loves. Love and light.